welcome everybody to our annual Liberty Dinner for Oakdale Academy. My name is Mark Pospisil, and our 4 children belong and are blessed to be part of this amazing school. I'm the pastor of the Lakes Church, and I'm emceeing our event tonight. Albert Einstein once said, "Education is not the learning of facts, but the training of the mind to think." And it never ceases to amaze me to consider how you see this play out over and over and over again in Oakdale Academy, as they exist to instill character, truth, and wisdom in our students to prepare them for a life of service to God, to family, to community, and to country. And I would like to ask all of you right now to stand from your seats and join me in a word of prayer as we dedicate this night over to the Lord, and remain standing as Wyatt Surmont will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, and the Oakdale Academy Upper School Chorale will then sing the national anthem. So join me in a word of prayer. God, we thank you for being so gracious to us. Thank you for the love that you've given to us through your Son, Jesus, and allowing us to gather for these festivities, to enjoy a night out, but more than that, to just be part of the mission of Oakdale together. Pray that you would bless our time here, that we would enjoy you and enjoy new company and new friends, and that you would be glorified in everything that takes place. We commit this night over to you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the whole of love, brave of the brave.
Continue on our evening together. I have the honor to introduce to you Dr. Stanton. And since February of 2019, he has served faithfully as the headmaster of Oakdale Academy. He's been working in education since 1998, and he brings experience and insight from the private education sector, from public schools, university teaching, and classical Christian education to his leadership at this academy. His passion for leadership, education, teaching, and learning are the portions that drive his vision for this school to develop students with a Christian worldview to prepare them for a life of service. Dr. Stanton continues to serve as the officer of the U.S. Navy Reserve, holding the rank of commander, and having just a few months ago returned from deployment to Bahrain and the U.S. Fifth Fleet. He holds degrees from Hillsdale College, Central Michigan University, Liberty University, as well as diplomas from the Naval War College and the Joint Forces Staff College. That's pretty impressive. Those are a lot of degrees and a lot of education there. He's married to his lovely wife, Jody, and together they have 6 wonderful children. In all of his activities and pursuits, he places his service to Jesus above all. And personally, he is the reason why we are part of this amazing community. Because all it took for us was one visit to Oakdale and one meeting with Dr. Stanton to hear the vision for the academy and what they offer and what it will do for our family. And if the Lord wills, we are now lifers to classical Christian education, which I never even heard of until a year and a half ago, all because of this man. So can you join in welcoming up Dr. Stanton, our faithful headmaster?
Thank you, Pastor Pospisil, for your kind words of introduction, for serving as our MC this evening. Before I begin, I want to take a moment and thank Jace and Missy Robertson for being here. Missy, you were a bonus. When we first planned this a couple of years ago, you weren't part of the plans. Thank you for supporting us in your beliefs on faith, on family, and through your book signing. Jace, it's been 2 years since we were riding in a car together on the way from Metro Airport on that fateful day back in March of 2020 when the world dramatically changed. And then, for those of you who don't know, their flights were delayed again today to the point that the stress level of those of us planning the event went through the roof. But we are convinced that the Lord wants you here, and we are looking very, very forward to hearing what you have to share with us this evening. No pressure at all. But thanks for being here. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for joining us this evening. Annually, I give the State of the School address at our Liberty Dinner, and this year's address I am entitling The Flight to Freedom. When I arrived on campus back in 2019, we had approximately 120 students. As of this August, I anticipate we will be at, near, or potentially above 200 students on campus. The classical Christian education movement, of which Oakdale Academy is firmly committed, has seen exponential growth in particular and sustained growth over the last 2 years. And all this raises a very important question. Why? Why are so many families interested in Oakdale Academy and in classical Christian education? Well, I see several reasons why. But before I answer that, I must say it would be easy indeed to point out the problems, the shortcomings, and the wrong turns of our government-run schools. I could take the time to recount the problems with Common Core, International Baccalaureate, the 1619 Project, critical race theory, biological males competing in women's sports, and dozens, if not scores, of other ways where Christians should take offense and take pause before they send children to a government-run school. But that would be an easy rhetorical tool to use to highlight only what is wrong while offering no answer to what is right and what is better. You know, in amazing ways, though, we have seen people try and search for and then fix the issues and look for something that is better. And that was done by our nation's parents over the past 2 years. We witnessed them across the country stand up for their children, speak out at school board meetings, move to recall elected officials who tell them they have no control over their own children's education and then label them as domestic terrorists. And as much as these parents deserve our applause, our admiration, and our prayers, when we removed God from the classrooms and banned him from the public square, we should not be surprised at the results. The moment our society shifted to accept the notion that everyone could choose their own truth, regardless of the ramifications, and when our culture celebrates the very things Christianity says are wrong, why do we still think the world is okay? When those with a far left agenda and an anti-Christian agenda attained tenure in our nation's universities and began to train teachers, we should not demonstrate any disbelief at what is going on today. When those who serve in positions of leadership, including in the halls of Congress, advocate for the very ideologies this nation spent decades fighting in the last century and do so with no shame, we simply echo Solomon's notion that there is nothing new under the sun. So to my question of why are so many people interested? Well, firstly, when parents choose Oakdale Academy and classical Christian education, they are indeed fleeing to freedom. If we have learned anything in the past 2 years, is that we cherish our freedoms so much more when they are threatened. Throughout our history, Americans have always risen to question and challenge the usurpation of our rights. From the town meetings of New England to the Boston Tea Party, from Lexington and Concord straight on to Yorktown, and even in our time, when forces align to restrict our rights and privileges as American citizens, we have not sat idly by, but have stood up and taken appropriate action to remind our leaders that we, the people, are the ultimate sovereign in this land. At Oakdale Academy, we teach not just about freedom, but liberty as well. The difference lies in that freedom is simply the state of being free, while liberty is the freedom to act as one best sees fit, based on a shared set of values, morals, and traditions. We espouse liberty to our students when we encourage, when we challenge, and when we guide them to prepare them for a life of service. That life of service that is rooted in the fundamental and timeless beliefs of Christianity and the Western Judeo-Christian culture and heritage. But with freedom and liberty come questions. Recently, the following conversations and discussions took place in the halls and classrooms of Oakdale Academy. When asked about politics, one of our teachers directed a 7th grader to read on how governments are formed, laws given, and to seek out knowledge so as to inform her own developing political beliefs. The result? This young lady, on her own, was moved to read from the law codes of Hammurabi and Moses in an attempt to gain understanding. Likewise, a 10th grader researched the similarities between the Enlightenment and the Reformation in an attempt to see what the impact of those two monumental events were on the world still today. In a study of ancient Greece, one of our students, a young man, started a discussion by posing the question about whether the ancient pantheon of gods and goddesses actually existed or not. What followed was a monumental discussion about spiritual forces in a world and its materialistic worldview. In many ways, these are some stories that exemplify our core pillar of wisdom at Oakdale Academy, where we advocate ultimately that true freedom is found only in Jesus Christ and in His saving grace. We study those who demonstrated wisdom throughout the ages. To illustrate that, will you please help me welcome one of our 8th grade students, Joshua Dorfman, to give his recitation from the book of 1 Kings, describing the wisdom of Solomon.
First Kings 4:20 through 5:12. The people of Judah and Israel were as numerous as the sand on the seashore. They ate, they drank, and they were happy. And Solomon ruled over all the kingdoms, from the Euphrates River to the land of the Philistines, as far as the border of Egypt. These countries brought tribute and were Solomon's subjects all his life. Solomon's daily provisions were 30 cores of the finest flour and 60 cores of meal. 10 head of stall-fed cattle, 20 of pasture-fed cattle, and 100 sheep and goats, as well as deer, gazelles, roebucks, and choice fowl. For he ruled over all the kingdoms west of the Euphrates River, from Tifsa to Gaza, and had peace on all sides. During Solomon's lifetime, Judah and Israel, from Dan to Beersheba, lived in safety, everyone under their own vine and under their own fig tree. Solomon had 4,000 stalls for chariot horses and 12,000 horses. The district governors, each in his month, supplied provisions for King Solomon and all who came to the king's table. They saw to it that nothing was lacking. They also brought to the proper place their quotas of barley and straw for the chariot horses and the other horses. God gave Solomon wisdom and very great insight and a breadth of understanding as measureless as the sand on the seashore. Solomon's wisdom was greater than the wisdom of all the people of the East and greater than all the wisdom of Egypt. He was wiser than anyone else, including Ethan the Ezrahite, wiser than Heman, Kelkal, and Dara, the sons of Mahal, and his fame spread to all the surrounding nations. He spoke 3,000 proverbs, and his songs numbered 1,005. He spoke about plant life, from the cedar of Lebanon to the hyssop that grows out of walls. He spoke also about plants and animals, reptiles and fish. From all nations, people came to listen to Solomon's wisdom, sent by all the kings of the world who had heard of his wisdom. When Hiram, king of Tyre, heard that Solomon had been anointed king to succeed his father David, he sent his envoys to Solomon, because he had always been on friendly terms with David. Solomon sent back this message to Hiram. You know that because of the wars waged against my father David from all sides, he could not build a temple for the name of the Lord his God, until the Lord put his enemies under his feet. But now the Lord has given me rest on every side, and there is no adversary or disaster. I intend, therefore, to build a temple for the name of the Lord my God, as the Lord told my father David when he said, your son, whom I shall put on the throne in your place, will build a temple for my name. So give orders that cedars of Lebanon be cut for me. My men will work with yours, and I will pay you for your men whatever wages you set. You know we have no one so skilled in felling timber as Sidonians. When Hiram heard Solomon's message, he was greatly pleased and said, praise be the Lord today, for he has given David a wise son to rule over this great nation. Hiram sent word to Solomon. I have received the message you sent me, and will do all you want in providing the cedar and juniper logs. My men will haul them down from Lebanon to the Mediterranean Sea, and I will float them as raft by sea to the place you specify. There I will separate them, and you can take them away. And you are to grant my wish by providing food for my royal household. In this way, Hiram kept Solomon supplied with all the cedar and juniper logs he wanted. And Solomon gave Hiram 20,000 cores of wheat as food for his household, in addition to 20,000 baths of pressed olive oil. Solomon continued to do this for Hiram year after year. The Lord gave Solomon wisdom, just as he had promised him. There were peaceful relations between Hiram and Solomon, and the two of them made a treaty. 1 Kings 4:20 through 5:12.
Thank you, Josh. A second reason I submit for the rise in popularity of Oakdale Academy and classical Christian education is that we focus on the right things. At the core, we stand for the truth of God's Word as contained in the Holy Bible. We aim to train the hearts and minds to learn to live for the right things and to nurture our students in the formation of the soul. Perhaps our upper school literature classes best exemplify it as they study the words of the famous Greek lyricist Pindar and his notion that we are to become such as you are, having learned what that is. Even at our youngest ages, we see this come to fruition. As they read through Scripture, one of our teachers gave a presentation of the gospel and responded to the inevitable questions about what heaven was like. Upon returning home, one of the students told his parents how he had previously been afraid of dying, but now he knew he would be with Jesus where there are no more tears or sorrow. We truly pour into the souls of our students, pointing them to the truth. We seek to disciple our students through the development of their character, confirming their beliefs of our Christian faith and preparing them for a world that denigrates it with such regularity. For the past 2 years, we have heard from politicians, pundits, presidents, prime ministers, and even some from the pulpit as to which people, jobs, and so many other aspects of our lives are essential. Sadly, many of those experts missed the mark by not knowing that the church and schools are absolutely essential and their doors should never, ever be closed again. In many ways, our 7th grade students knew that before they did, when they best captured this in a recent Socratic seminar where they discussed the qualities that are essential, not accidental to man, so as to determine the ultimate goal of a classical education. Character, in many ways a lost concept in our day, is truly integral to the effectiveness not only of education, but to the proper development of young men and young women who have the moral courage and tenacity to know what is right, what is wrong, and how to stand up for their beliefs. It was displayed in our 2nd grade class recently as they reviewed a timed math test. One of the students, discovering the great grade she had received, knew, though, that she had earned it through dishonesty. With sound character and a contrite heart, she confessed this to her teacher, knowing the potential and likely consequences. That is character developed well at home and at school. At Oakdale Academy, we believe in right and wrong and how our character must be shaped to preserve the timeless notion of which is which, and standing up for what is right even when everyone is against you. It is standing firm for your faith, your family, your beliefs, and then properly defending them with a Christ-like attitude. Thirdly, we train our students well at Oakdale Academy. We train them not for the acquiring of a job, but for the service they will provide in and through their lives. We study the good, the true, and the beautiful as part of the great conversation. As Aristotle noted at the beginning of his Ethics, we reflect and learn that every art and every inquiry, and likewise every action and choice, seems to aim at some good. And hence, it has been beautifully said that the good is that at which all things aim. Finally, we see an increase in the attractiveness of an Oakdale Academy education as families wish to see our true history taught, respected, and honored again. We are a school that stays on mission and does not waver with the prevailing nonsense of the day. We honor our flag, our history, and our nation. We recognize and promote the idea that freedom comes at a hard-fought cost. Through history, our students learn of the famous last stands where men gave everything they could to defend heart and hearthstone. As we study and celebrate Western civilization, we honor those who willingly ran into battle and their later descendants throughout history who would do the same for our nation. I think I could perhaps use some help with another illustration. Ladies and gentlemen, will you please help me welcome fifth grader Fisher June, who will give us an historical example of that.
The Charge of the Light Brigade by Alfred Lord Tennyson. Half a league, half a league, half a league onward, all in the valley of death rode the 600. Forward the Light Brigade, charge for the guns, he said. Into the valley of death rode the 600. Forward the Light Brigade. Was there a man dismayed? Not though the soldier knew someone had blundered. There's not to make reply, there's not to reason why, there's but to do and die. Into the valley of death rode the 600. Cannon to right of them, cannon to left of them, cannon in front of them, volleyed and thundered, stormed at with shot and shell. Boldly they rode and well. Into the jaws of death, into the mouth of hell, rode the 600. Flashed all their sabers bare, flashed as they turned an air, sabering the gunners there, charging an army while all the world wondered. Plunged in the battery smoke, right through the line they broke. Cossack and Russian reeled from saber stroke, shattered and sundered. Then they rode back, but not the 600. Cannon to right of them, cannon to left of them, cannon behind them, volleyed and thundered, stormed at with shot and shell, while horse and hero fell. They that had fought so well came through the jaws of death, back from the mouth of hell. All that was left of them, left of 600. When can their glory fade? Oh, the wild charge they made. All the world wondered. Honor the charge they made. Honor the Light Brigade. Noble 600. The Charge of the Light Brigade by Alfred Lord Tennyson.
Thank you, Fisher. Wonderful, wonderful job to both of you. At Oakdale Academy, we study the history of the West through the lens of original documents that are not reimaginations of history, but are the accounts and expressions of what really happened. We read the words of Adams, Jefferson, Washington, and Lincoln. We study Cicero and Caesar. We digest the philosophies of Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle. We read the great books, study the beautiful order of math, the wonder of science, and the amazement of the arts, while developing a Christian worldview in our students. Through these studies, we not only honor our heritage, but we produce in our students the love of learning simply for the sake of learning. We then find in them citizens able to understand the beauty of our republic and the need to defend her from external foes, as well as to stand up for the rights of we the people when those rights are usurped for political and transient expediency. In America, we used to think of the foundational principles and the moral fiber of the nation and the will of the people. At Oakdale Academy, we still firmly believe that for 245 years, the United States of America served and continues to serve as a beacon to those who are oppressed around the world. Even before we were a nation, our forefathers were inspired to serve God above all else. And as John Winthrop told the passengers aboard the Arbella in 1630, what Ronald Reagan reminded us of generations later, that we must consider that we shall be as a city upon a hill. We perform simple yet profound tasks at Oakdale Academy with patriotic fervor. We honor our veterans, our police officers, firefighters, and all those who stand the line to defend our freedoms and liberty. In the fabric of our flag, we see that beautiful new constellation that waves over the land of the free and the home of the brave. It is the symbol, the world round, and our shores are still the destination of the downtrodden and for those huddled masses yearning to breathe free. And we do these things knowing they are unpopular and we are likely to be looked down upon. We do them and we know the risk that we run of being labeled with every derogatory moniker. Yet, we stand for these United States with profound admiration, thanks, and love for them. We hold firm to what Abraham Lincoln rightly called our country the last best hope. And so in each way, the state of our school is very strong indeed. And so as you sit here this evening and wonder about why should you send your children or encourage others to send their children to Oakdale Academy, or why you would consider financially supporting this school, let me answer in this way. You hear all the wonderful things we stand for and all the great stories that I've shared about our school. You've heard from two amazing students perform their recitations, and you heard and will again from some of our students perform through song. You met some of our students who are seated off to my left there, help execute this evening's event in welcoming you, playing music, helping with a book signing, and many other tasks. You saw students who were well-spoken, interact with adults well, carry themselves well and correctly, and have a genuine joy about them. These are not the end goals of an Oakdale Academy education. They are rather the outward displays of one. As you consider supporting Oakdale Academy, I would say you should instead ask, why are you here and what is your goal as a school? Well, I'll answer by saying simply, it is our mission to instill character, truth, and wisdom in our students in order to prepare them for a life of service to God, family, community, and country through classical Christian education. We see classical Christian education not as exclusive, but for all followers of Christ who wish to enter a place where the focus is on learning for the sake of learning, for the formation of the soul and not for just a job, where students are confident, well-spoken, and live lives with purpose. We are preparing our students for a life of service. We are preparing our students to pursue a character that honors God above financial gain and fame and recognition. We are preparing our students to defend their faith, the truth, in a world that so often mocks it. We are preparing our students to share their wisdom in how they lead. And you should ask yourself then, why do you do that? Well, simply put, we at Oakdale Academy do it as our form of worship and honor to God, because it is the right thing to do and because the stakes are high. These are serious times and they call for serious leadership. Our world needs leaders who understand how to use character and how to make decisions with wisdom. This country needs the next generation of doctors, lawyers, teachers, artists, politicians, pastors, mechanics, plumbers, and most importantly, husbands and wives who become moms and dads, to have a grounding in those things that used to be accepted. Our churches need Christians to be just as strong and just as bold in the defense of our Lord as those who attack our faith. Our families need leadership that realizes that society does not evolve, but devolves as we move further away from God's plan. And we need families that teach and disciple their children to impact a world that takes the concept of free will and changes it to a complete lack of limits, where we know and fully understand that freedom taken to that extent is not freedom at all. Oakdale Academy is integral to achieving these ends, for we know we are essential in the lives of our students as we partner with our parents to prepare these students for a life of service to God, family, community, and country. Thank you again so much for being here this evening. Thank you for your support of the work and mission of Oakdale Academy. Thank you. At this time, I'm pleased to make two very special presentations on behalf of the Oakdale Academy Board, both focused on future growth and the development of our campus at Oakdale Academy. Both presentations are made following a good deal of prayer and discussion, and each of the board members and myself are enthused to see how God continues to move in and through our school as we look to serve the families of the present and the families of the future at Oakdale Academy. We see in both these projects opportunities for like-minded families and businesses to come alongside and support all we've talked about this evening and all we do at our school. With that, I'm pleased to welcome up to the stage Mr. and Mrs. Spencer, parents at Oakdale Academy and owners of Spencer Real Estate. Tonight, I am pleased to inform you all that through the generosity of this local parent-owned business, we are able to move forward with the final steps of our long-anticipated soccer field. Through the investment of $100,000, I am delighted to announce and award the naming rights to this wonderful company. Please help me thank and celebrate the future of this portion of our campus with the unveiling of the Spencer Real Estate Athletic Field at Oakdale Academy. I think picture right there. Excellent. Thank you. Thank you so much to everyone in the Spencer family and for your wonderful company and your extreme generosity. I'm also pleased to present to you the future for the next phases of development of our campus on Beecham Drive. Our current campus is a wonderful blessing from God and continues to serve us well. However, with the increase of families and students and the anticipation of more, we know the need to expand our facilities. Additionally, we see the need for new space to continue to serve the families of the future at Oakdale Academy. Over the past few months, several board members and I have met to put together our thoughts and dreams to paper for an overall master campus plan for Oakdale Academy. I want to thank Emray Construction and Design as well as DS Wright and Associates for all their hard work with us on this project, from the beginnings that were an idea to what you will see this evening. Of special note, I want to thank Emray's owner, Matt Tushis, who is here and is one of this evening's sponsors. Matt, where are you? There you are. Thank you so much, Matt. All right, if you could please unveil. As you can begin to envision, thank you all, We are looking to fully utilize and develop many portions of our 8-acre campus while maintaining the overall feel of this beautiful location nestled in our neighborhood. In addition to Spencer Real Estate Athletic Field, a new facility of roughly 38,800 square feet is envisioned. In listening to our parent association, as well as knowing the need to upgrade many of our amenities, I am pleased to provide you this evening with our ideal for this next building on campus. As you begin to see, this new building will meet the needs of Oakdale Academy well into the future. As we look to increase classrooms, as well as a full-size gym, with a stage for chapels, plays, concerts, and ceremonies, we also have the ability to host tournaments, increase office space, and capture an outdoor gathering in our proposed amphitheater. In these next 3 slides, you can see how the new facility will be attached to our current school. And here you can begin to envision the details of the first floor with the gym, stage, locker rooms, and multiple classrooms, along with a new entrance for our school. Likewise, the second floor of the new building will provide further classroom spaces, along with restrooms and a view down to the 2-story atrium and entranceway, as well as outside to our covered colonnade and amphitheater. Back inside, this next photo is a rendition of what our main gym could ultimately look like. In addition to athletic contests, we would place a full stage, as in this artistic rendition. Here we would host chapels, ceremonies, concerts, plays, and guest speakers. Moving back to the exterior, these are each a different elevation view that includes how we plan to blend the architecture of our current school into the new facility. One of the main goals in our work with the architect is to exemplify the beauty of the facility. We don't simply want to drop a box on campus, but the realization that in classical Christian education, we seek to demonstrate there's something beautiful and unique about this building. Our goal is to showcase from the moment you see this building that extraordinary things happen inside. I'm so pleased to share these renderings with you all this evening, invite you to view them, those up here more closely, and we have duplicates out in the lobby. Please do take some time to look and dream along with us. As I close out this special presentation and we see an overview of our vision for the Oakdale Academy campus, I ask everyone to keep in mind a few important items. Our emphasis remains on glorifying God above all else, and in using this facility to further His kingdom through classical Christian education. Our additional classrooms ensure the continuation of Socratic dialogue and learning. Our new facilities answer the need of our athletic department and our growing fine and performing arts. The amphitheater in the round offers an additional place to study the good, the true, and the beautiful. Moving forward, we will continue to seek God's direction prayerfully and wisely for the development of the phases of this plan. I intend to offer further times for our current and future families to see these plans again and to ask some questions you may all undoubtedly have. As you see these images and renderings here and again in the lobby as you leave, and begin to digest the dream of what is possible on our campus, I do ask you to keep in mind this is much more than the adding on to our school, but it is the capturing through architecture the essence of the sense of beauty we hope to evoke in our school. As you've heard this evening, our school is not about a building, but we do have the needs for growing our current facility. And again, we look to not simply put up a structure, but to evoke a sense of wonder from the moment you see the building, as you walk into the new entrance and atrium, and as you wander the halls and classrooms and hear the learning taking place. So whether in contests at Spencer Real Estate Athletic Field, or in the beginnings of our drive to an expanded facility, we seek always to honor God in all we do. And as we shift to capital plans and improvements, I assure you, always at Oakdale Academy, we will remain on mission and prayerfully walk through each step of these plans as we have these past 11 years. Thank you so much again for your excitement, for your willingness to continue to partner with us, for being here this evening to support the great work that we undertake.
O God of love, true source of peace, make wars throughout the world to cease. The wrath of sinful hearts restrain. Give peace, O God, give peace again. Give peace again.
Remember, Lord, your works of old, the wonders that our fathers told. Remember not our sins' deep stain.